Sorry for my disheveled appearance. I just woke up. And as far as the formatting for this video, I don't make YouTube videos, so if it seems a little weird or whatever, it's because I'm just a dude talking to my camera on my phone because I don't have decent shit on my laptop to make a video. But that said, I woke up with a lot of stuff on my mind this morning that I feel it's pertinent that people start talking about, not necessarily holding my viewpoints, but there's just a lot of shit that I'm seeing just on YouTube alone, plus a few other things that I'm like, it's kind of time we stopped ignoring these things. That said, I'm going to start talking about a few concepts that I hope you not assume you've looked up, but I hope you will look up or have looked up. And even if I say anything that doesn't make sense, just pause the video. Like, if you're interested in this for any reason, I don't know why you would be. I'm just some random dude making a video. I don't even know how many of these I'll make or if I'll even put this up. But if you're watching this and I'm talking about some concepts you're not familiar with, pause it and look at it. Look it up. Just do a Google search. You don't have to watch every YouTube video there is on it, but just like get familiar. I feel that any medium, anything, any source of any kind of information that doesn't push you to already have an informed view or to look up alternative sources to establish your own viewpoint, it's not necessarily to your detriment, but it's definitely not to support you. Like, if I tell you that something's a certain way and that you can't look up anything else about it, or that it's all blasphemous, or that it's fake or something, like, just like use your own personal logic, your own critical thinking, which is something that is being eradicated today in both public schooling and whatever. But like, I grew up in Oakland. I'm just saying, like, public schooling, they don't want you to think critically, and that's pretty obvious at this point. Most of us just knew school was some bullshit, and that's why we don't give a fuck about it. But that's a whole other different topic. I want to talk about some crazy things that I've been seeing lately that I don't really, I'm off Facebook, but I got off it because I see these things on YouTube and then no one's talking about them. I don't know if that's because of censorship or I get mad at people and shit for not talking about stuff, but like, who knows what the real reason is. I'm trying to calm a lot of that anger down, and I'll talk about that in the video if I have time as well. We've got the Mandela effect. If you're not familiar with that, check it out. It's just some trippy stuff. It can be a little scary and a little intimidating, but it's also like, whoa, what the fuck is this? We got the Mandela effect. We've got the fact that it seems pretty clear to many people, myself included. Again, I'm not going to tell people that this is how it is because this is some crazy stuff, and like, you should just look into it and see how you feel about it personally before you make a judgment. I mean, it's cool to be like, yeah, this is crazy, but you can't say whether or not something's right or wrong. I don't think you can ever say something's right or wrong, but that's a deeper philosophical point. But seriously, you can't say something's right or wrong if you haven't looked into it. That's just basic. Otherwise, you're gonna let your opinion and your actions and your thoughts be based on someone else's, and that's, I mean, if that's how you want to live your life, fine, but like, that's kind of lame. We got this thing that African Americans aren't actually African, that maybe some of us are descendant of some African slaves, but for the most part, it's starting to seem pretty clear that we're like indigenous Americans, that we're the Native Americans. That's why we don't look African, and like, that's its whole thing. Again, I'm not going to stop and talk about these entire concepts because there's whole videos on them, whole playlists. I don't need to do that. Go check out the people so I'm not like, stealing their cred or their hard work and shit, because I hate seeing that on YouTube when you watch one video that's like not even representing the information in the correct way, but they reference somebody else's video that they spent who knows how long to make, put however much work into, and then they like just briefly throw up like a couple of seconds, and then they get like millions or thousands of views, and that shit's kind of fucked up. But I mean, it's also just trying to get the information out there, and I feel like that's important too. But Mandela effect, this Native American, African American, you've got crazy political shit going on. People have been off and on talking about the Illuminati for a couple years. There's just like a lot of, flat earth, that was really important. Like, that's something that's, and a lot of these concepts are things that outright you go, man, that's all bullshit. Anybody who believes that's fucking crazy. But that's only if you're operating off of the logic that all of these things are consistent and true. And I mean, I'm not going to get caught up on race or anything like that. I feel like, I grew up in a certain household where we see things about, like, not so much race, but as, like, just what you function as in society. You know, you have like the working class and then you have the ruling class. And a lot of people get caught up on all these different subdivisions, but that's basically what it is. You either have hella money and you run shit, or you're at the subject of like other people's laws and ideas and companies, and like, you know, you don't run your own life. Nobody knows that freedom in this world. I don't care what else you want to get caught up on or talk shit about somebody else. We all have that in common. We're not fucking in control. And we assume that we never will be or could, because that's just a fallacy, right? But you know, you're assuming that all these different things are true, so it's really easy to go, oh, you think the earth's flat? That's fucking stupid. I don't even need to think about that because, you know, I've got globes in the fucking classroom and shit. And it took me a really long time to even like give some of these concepts the light of day, but I asked myself one simple question. I was like, well, you know, what if I was lied to about certain things? Not saying that I was for sure, but like, you know, if something works differently than I've been taught, but I'm looking at it from a fixed perspective, then like I'm never gonna see that. It's not even possible because I have that fixed perspective and I'm gonna go, no, that's ludicrous. But if I kind of come out of it and I go, well, this is rational, this seems right, and then I start looking at things not as what falls into what I've been told, but what seems to actually rationally make sense, then I'm like, fuck, dude, a lot of this shit's fucking crazy. And I think a lot of people are in that space right now. So I'm kind of, if I'm speaking to anybody, this video is kind of like a video diary, but I'm speaking to you folks who are in the middle of all this. You're not necessarily making the videos about the Mandela effect. You might be telling your friends, like, check this out, but you're not, like, on the streets advocating this, Alex Jones style. Alex Jones is bullshit, by the way. Don't get behind that dude. But, like, you know, you're not flying the flag on these issues. You're just kind of like observing them and watching different other people kind of investigate it. And I think that that's a healthy perspective to hold. You don't just like jump on the bandwagon like some people are prone to do. And it's hard for people that are bandwagoners to get behind these concepts and to think about them and to challenge these things, because you're a bandwagoner. You don't know how to, sorry, you don't often consciously practice individual thought and critical thinking, because we're conditioned not to. It's not a judgment. It's like we're doing what the fuck we're told. Everything they say on the radio and music right now is party, dance, fuck, all that shit. It's not think, educate, thrive, or anything like that. But anyway, I wanted to, like, I'm getting off on tangents. I wanted to say, like, I've had this shit on my mind all morning about this theme of, like, a running constant. And I'm going to explain that, like, my thought process, I'm all over the place with it. So, again, this video is not for people who are just now starting to challenge the system or certain thoughts. This is for people who are kind of already there with me. So I'm just going to be out there. Don't watch if it doesn't feel right with you. Find some other stuff to check out. Maybe come back to this, or just say fuck it and turn me off. If you take like a cabinet, right, a wooden cabinet, and you paint it red, then it's red. Basic shit. If you paint it green, it's green. If you paint it blue, it's blue. But it's still a wood cabinet, right? And you're like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? That's basic shit, right? You see it, it's a blue cabinet now. Except actually, technically, you've established that it's, even though you can't see it, what you visibly see right now because you've painted it blue is a blue cabinet. It's a blue, green, red cabinet. It's important not to forget the layers that you've covered up just because of what you see. Like, that's something basic that we do with something like painting a cabinet. What do you think we do with larger concepts without even really realizing it? We subtly stop paying attention to what's not immediately in front of our face, and that's dangerous because in a few months you might forget that you painted that cabinet red. And for whatever reason, like, that's not important on a cabinet, but at a larger issue, you could see how, like, fuck, we're like missing certain things that were basic at one point. And that's kind of like, that might not make sense to a lot of people. Probably won't make sense to many because a lot of us are locked in a certain type of thinking. But I think that all these issues and things that are going to come up in the next few days, months, weeks, however long it could be, because it seems like these changes are accelerating and many of us note that they are. It's going to take thinking differently to live differently. That's just kind of like, I think that's like physics, you know? You have to change the way that you think in order to change the way that you live. That's a basic concept that I think a lot of us can get behind with just those simple words. That's how it works. And I meant this video to talk about many other things and like in a concentrated period of time, but I can see now you gotta kind of like plan what you're doing on YouTube because I only have 3 minutes left. But I wanted to get into genetic memory. It's a concept that if you're a gamer, they talk about in Assassin's Creed, they talk about it in quantum physics. However you're perceived to look at it, it's a thing. It's an idea. Genetic memory is the concept that if you look at it in animals, why a loggerhead turtle, once the egg has been hatched and the mom tortoise dips back into the ocean, you can even dig this egg up and put it in a different spot on the beach, and when it's born, it knows I need to go get in the fucking water. This isn't something that's been taught and told by its parent, yo, the water's good for you, go jump in it. No, it's born with the survival instinct. I need to get into the water, and all my other fucking like little baby tortoise homies are doing this, and they figure out how to connect back to like the like tortoise like clan hive. Like how does that little tiny thing do that? But we just look at animals and say, oh well, that's survival instinct. But like, what if humans have genetic memory? And that's not really a what if. I'm trying to get you to think that way, but we do, because there's running constants. Life on this planet, you can fragment it in animal, subspecies of animals, human, whatever, races. But just because you've painted that cabinet different colors, it's still life. It might take different forms, but there's running constants into how life functions on this planet. If you want to look at it as a planet, if you want to look at it as like a fucking ship, like a Death Star, if you want to look at it like whatever, a floating little ball with life on it. However you look at it, life functions on that thing, on Gaia, a specific way. There's running constants to how that works. There's running constants to how anything works. Whatever structure you have, like, people say that we need to smash the capitalist system in order for people to thrive and for a system that is designed for their benefit, and other people laugh at that and go, oh, that's ridiculous. You just want to get rid of fucking money and individual thought, and you want to make everybody a hive mind. And no, it's just saying that under this system that's focused on money, you see what's happening. We're focused on war. We're focused on just money, all forms of money. How is it in a system that should have people's backs that there's so many unemployed? It's basic stuff. If we were in a system that was designed to benefit us, nobody would be hungry. Think about how much money we spend on guns for like national security, when like, what the fuck needs to be secure when everyone's content? No one's gonna be pissed off or want to hurt anything when they have food and shelter. If you've grown up in like any type of impoverished situation, you know that all rampant crime and all that shit, I'm not condoning it, but whatever it is, it stems and starts from like, well, we needed to provide, and this is how we figured out how to do it. We kind of maybe lost our way and got a little fucking weird with it, and over time practices and stuff have like established that we're doing like really fucked up shit, but it all started with some fools who were like, yeah, we started stealing shit because we needed to eat. So like, I'm out of time. I've talked about a lot of shit in this little video, but I think I'm gonna probably make more. I'm thinking about a lot of things that I just kind of want to spitball off other people. I want to have a note of it so I can see it. But if anybody starts watching this, I mean, you don't have to just sign on and co-sign to how I think, but like challenge me, fucking make me think better, and also, challenge yourself to question things. That's it. Fucking don't wake up, just be conscious.